Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Sober is Dope World. And this channel is a supplement to the Sober is Dope podcast. I'm your host, Buchanan, and I just wanted to touch base with you guys today and talk about my sobriety personally. And I wanted to give you guys some overall insights on how I found success in my sobriety. December 15th, 2020 will be making my 8 years. I will have reached 8 years of recovery. So I have to give myself a round of applause because that's one of the things that helped me, self-appreciation and self-love, and, acknowledging my wins and making peace with my losses. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome again back to Sober is Dope. Again, we launched about a week and a half ago. We have about 41 episodes, 42 or 43, and I'm very excited to be with you guys. So again, I want to go back to the beginning, why I was drinking the way I was drinking. And I want to say to you guys, it was simple. I was using it to numb the pain, and I was using it as an extreme social lubricant. I was using it to deal with trauma, and it was an escape. And the problem with that is, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't acknowledge, it took me a long time to really come to a reality where I understood that alcohol was detrimental to me. I thought I could just get through it, and I just thought I was unique in a way where I had these problems with it, but I didn't really make that connection that I was allergic to alcohol and I shouldn't drink and I had to get rid of it. And it took a long time, but I don't want this to be a long episode. I want to give you guys some tips. If you're out there and you're struggling with recovery, whether it's drugs or alcohol or addiction, it could be a food addiction, it could be shopping, it could be video games, it could be anything. It could be, an addiction is an addiction. It could be sugar, which is the root cause of most addictions, right? But in my case, it was alcohol. My advice to you guys is really try to deal with the reality. Like, identify that you have a problem, and you will know if you have a problem. So I'm asking everyone to be extremely honest. Use radical honesty, guys. Don't pretend. The first step is being realistic. Okay, sitting down with yourself in secrecy, listening to your heart, looking at your whole life and saying to myself, do I have a problem with addiction? Do I need help? And do I want help? At the moment, you may not know what the help looks like. You may not know how to get the help, but the most important step is identifying to yourself, saying to yourself, admitting to yourself that, yes, I'm aware that I have an addiction. I'm aware that I need help. And ask yourself if you want that help. That's the first step. Then you have to get to a mental and spiritual place. When I say spiritual place, it's more mind, body, and spirit. So when your body is tired, your spirit is ready, and your mind is definitely certain that you want to start a recovery process, or you want to give up your drug of choice. You have to make a decision, because if you're not ready, ladies and gentlemen, the reality is it's not going to work. It's going to be a short-lived thing. And what we want is permanent success and recovery. And part of it is when the addict is aware and ready to make a change. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you to be in a state where you're really at that point, but it comes with some introspection. You have to look inside of yourself. So I had to really be honest with myself. I was by myself. I was walking in the middle of the street, and I just got on my knees and I gave my life back to God because I was so tired and I didn't want to die, and I just was so afraid at the time, and I was so sick of the cycle of addiction, that never ending. You feel a little bit better, then you drink more to feel better, then it makes you feel bad and you need more to drink, and it's that never ending vicious cycle of addiction and how it plays with the brain. I was tired of it, and I got on my knees and gave my life back to God. And in that honest reality, that was the beginning of the Sober is Dope story. You guys can go to my podcast, Sober is Dope, and listen to episode 1 where I tell the whole story. But in reality, I had to make that decision, and I'm happy that I did, right? So when you're ready and you know you're ready, there's a lot of help out there. You could go to the hospital and get detox. That's where you get the alcohol out your system. That's what I did. That was the most important part of my story. I went into a detox clinic, and without insurance or anything, I told them I'm not leaving unless I get help. And it was a back and forth, but eventually, God willing, the hospital helped me, and I was able to get detox. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from detox, you would sit with a counselor, and they could direct you to a rehab, whether it's inpatient or outpatient. I chose an outpatient rehab, stayed there for a year. And that means I stayed in a sober house, a sober facility, and traveled to the outpatient rehab clinic, took blood tests every day to make sure I was still in recovery, sat with a counselor, went to see psychiatrists, stayed in groups, multiple groups, and then I had a curfew. I had to do this every day. I had to go to I had to be in group at least 2 or 3 times a day. I had a counselor. I had to go deal with psychiatric work. And this brings me to mental health. If you're someone that's dealing with addiction, most likely dealing with some mental health, and it's one and the same. They call that comorbidity. I didn't know that at the time, but my depression was fueling my addiction, and my addiction was fueling my depression. So they go one, and there was one and the same. It was part of the same type of underlying diagnosis. It was a dual diagnosis, and that was important to me because when, it wasn't just about me not drinking. I had to deal with everything. I had to deal with the death of my father. I had to deal with my depression, and I had to deal with getting the alcohol out my body. And through that integrative approach, it gave me success because I was dealing with everything. I was responsible that way. Then I was able to get my nutrition back in order, and then exercise and meditate and pray. And without God or a concept of spirituality and God, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest, I would have been lost, right? Lost. I'm talking about lost. God was there, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my story briefly. I don't want this to be a long episode, but I want you guys to know, look, identify your personal addiction. So you might say, I feel fine. You might say, I don't have a problem. But everyone around you might be like, look, it's problematic. You're drinking and doing drugs every day. If you're waking up and you're drinking and doing drugs, and you're going to bed drinking and doing drugs, then you have an addiction issue. Right now, you find out if you're allergic, meaning that if you can't physically stop, even if you want to, that's another indicator. Like, I want to stop, but I can't. That's what we hear a lot, especially with hard drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. I want to stop, but I can't. So you need help, and that intervention is what's key, right? Hospital, getting it out, a medical assisted detox, sitting with a clinician, someone who specializes in helping you deal with the recovery process, having a group and a support system, for some of us, we may not have family. I was lucky I had family, but I had to do it on my own, and I had to depend on the programs and the recovery support system. And then that helped prepare me to go back to my family and get the help that I needed and make amends that way. Lastly, Alcoholics Anonymous, don't sleep on that. If you're not ready to go into rehabs, definitely go to AA. I would say try to get some detox, get a medical detox under your belt. Try to go to see an AA counselor, and try to see if you can get into some form of therapy. If you don't want to go to detox, you can still go to therapy, talk about your issues, try to do a biopsych social where you could see if there's any underlying mental health problems. That means depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. Extreme anxiousness and maybe bipolar or anything. It could be anything there. And once you have that under your belt, then you could develop a course of action and have a plan, right? If you want to hear more about ways to find your sobriety, personal success stories in recovery, and everything from A to Z, from addiction science to neuroplasticity to mental health to spiritual health and motivational health, just check out the Sober is Dope podcast. Check out this channel. Subscribe right here below. And stay tuned. I'm Pop Buchanan. I'm the host of the Sober is Dope podcast. I love you guys. And in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I'm going to say a short prayer to everyone out there. God, please bless everyone that's watching this video and listening to this video. Everyone, Please send this message far throughout the whole world. Anyone that's in a dark place, anyone that needs love, anyone that feels abandoned, anyone that's really stuck in depression, anxiety, fear, and addiction, anyone that's stuck in pain through the loss, anyone that's going through a divorce, a breakup, anyone that just lost a family member, anyone that's dealing with any sickness, God, please bring your supernatural peace to them. Bless them in the natural and supernatural. Give them hope. Clear their hearts of any anxiousness, of any fear. Bring them back to a place of peace and restore us all to our original glory so we could better serve you and find peace in this world. And there is a such thing as heaven on earth, and we could find it, God. Help us get us back to a place of peace and heal anyone that may need the healing. And that means all of their body, their mind, their spirit, bring peace to their life and love to their life. I ask this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Pop Buchanan. You're listening to the Sober is Dope channel. Welcome to Sober is Dope World. I love you all, and I'll catch you on the other side.